What's good YouTube, your boy Proxy here, and today we're going to be doing something new. Let's talk about the synergy between Raiden and Darius. So let's first talk about his moveset and what aspects of Raiden's kit that they synergize with. One of Raiden's best tools available to him is his Storm Cell, great pressure move that allows him to auto-confirm whilst affording him decent amounts of chip damage. Some of his best cameos make this move constantly safe, such as Sector's Missile, Goro Up Punch, Kano Ball, etc. And you get multiple charges with those moves. That's the one downside to Darius. He can obviously also make this move safe by using Tornado Spin, but at the cost of the entire cameo back compared to his other cameo counterparts. However, he affords Raiden significant chip damage even in one Storm Cell pressure sequence. Double whammy into either Twister Kicks can give you anywhere from 140 to 116 chip damage, whilst Double Dig-On Kick provides you with slightly less. If they block the entire sequence, you're still safe at -7 after Twister Kicks, and in addition, look at the pushback the opponent receives. You now have space again to operate in. If you use Double Dig-On Kick, you're still safe at -2. If they attempt to take back their turn by using a string or trying to armor through, you can counter armor by hitting them with Double Whammy into either Twister Kicks or Double Dig-On Kick. That's either 170 damage for Twister Kicks or 200 damage for Double Dig-On Kick in addition to the chip damage that they received. That's around 300 damage total they'll receive for trying to take their turn back. Furthermore, if they mistime their input, they can get sniped by Darius' Tornado Spin, leading to a full combo punish. You should always go for the full options, as Tornado Spin costs the entire cameo bar, and using only it and not exercising the other options is a terrible idea for many reasons. Firstly, you lose out on any extra chip damage in addition to possibly punishing your opponent for trying to take their turn back. Secondly, look at how long it takes Darius to start recharging. This is because he starts recharging only after he's left the field. Additionally, the rate at which he recharges using only Tornado Spin is very slow compared to other options. Now look at the same bar when we use Double Whammy into Twister Kicks or Double Whammy into Double Dig-On Kick. Firstly, the bar starts to charge after Double Whammy is used whilst he's still on the field, and it also recharges faster when those two options are specifically used. Note for the armored punish, Astra can possibly evade this interaction with the Astral Projection. You'll have to call Darius in earlier to catch her and punish her. Havoc is one of the only characters in the game that can beat your armor through by countering with Enhanced Helping Hand because he has several hits of armor. You'll trade damage, with him receiving 240 or 260, whilst you'll receive 220 and be knocked down. Up to you to decide if such a trade is worth it. Now here's what makes Darius special among Raiden's cameo options. He uniquely provides Raiden with an overhead low setup that is outright nasty. It's damn near impossible to block this setup constantly. Now there are two options for this overhead low setup. The first option comes from using his recently added ambush called Heel Turn. This is whereby Darius comes in and hits their opponent with an overhead that knocks them down. So let's talk about Heel Turn. Firstly, this ambush takes half the cameo bar to execute. Secondly, this ambush can only be called when the opponent is in a down state. Darius will not spawn otherwise. Thirdly, this overhead ambush can be delayed. This option right here forces the opponent into a mind game where they have to make the right guess or get severely punished, and I'll explain much more later. You can delay to catch delayed wake-ups, or to bait the opponent into blocking high and full comboing them up the low, etc. So let's talk about the setup. After knocking the opponent down, you call Darius for the ambush. You then time your low to hit the opponent immediately after Darius hits them with his heels drop. This will juggle the opponent, allowing you to full combo them. Note, you cannot hit the opponent with your low first, otherwise Darius will knock the opponent down, essentially nuking the setup. Also, ensure that you time this correctly, otherwise the opponent will be given enough time to easily fuzzy block the setup. You want there to be minimal time between the hit of the overhead and the low. For the actual combo, you can special cancel into Enhanced Shocker, then follow up with forward 2-2 into Shocker. That does 239 damage. Corner is Enhanced Shocker into Power Overload into Shocker, which gives you 250 damage. This is the optimal route. If you try any of the kicks such as Little Shock or Double Strike, the combo will drop due to the gravity scaling mechanic. Another option is that you can also time the Darius heel turn with the second hit of the basics to get 255 damage. It's 266 in the corner. The other option is going for the corner. After Enhanced Shocker, you can stand in 3, then cancel into Electric Fly to get the corner. You can also go for the hard knockdown after Enhanced Shocker into another setup. You have various routes into this setup. Ideally, from any knockdown you can go into this setup, but generally, you'd want to go into this setup from your hard knockdown overhead back 2. Ending your combos with this affords you enough time to summon Darius and effectively close the gap to initiate the setup. Note for the back 2 knockdown, you have to wait longer before you call Darius because back 2 is a hard knockdown, meaning the opponent gets a much slower than a normal knockdown. If you call him too early, he'll miss his heel kick. If you call him too late, the opponent is already up. This is the most consistent way to do the setup. It can also be done from using Shocker as the combo ender, but it isn't as consistent as back 2 because the opponent wakes up much faster. You'll have to call Darius as Shocker is about to end, and you'll have to dash cancel, wave dash, etc. to initiate the setup before they wake up. It has a very strict timing. You can also call Darius and delay him till you're close enough, but trust me, trying to do this consistently is not worth it and is prone to missed timings, which can get you punished or miss your setup window. It's perfect in a corner scenario though, as this specific need is eliminated. Which knockdown used to initiate the setup also has unique interaction with wake up options such as armored wake ups, etc., which I'll showcase in the next section. The setup can also be done by using back 4, which is a sweep, but I don't consider this option reliable. So let's talk about the alternative setup with Darius. This is done by using Eat Dirt, which is basically an enhanced heel turn that launches the opponent. This move can only be accessed through volley ballistic, which knocks the opponent down. Then, Darius subsequently uses Eat Dirt. Similar to heel turn, this move can also be delayed. None of Raiden's strings allow him to cancel into volley ballistic. The opponent recovers too quickly for any of these routes to work. However, you can make it real by using something like this, by using Tornado Spin and Electric Orb, but this is not ideal. Here's the ideal usage for this specific move. Shocker is the preferred combo ender for initiating this setup, as back 2 allows the opponent to wake up before the setup can be started. Ideally, this setup is done at the end of a combo whereby you call Darius midway through the Shocker ender and use volley ballistic to knock them down while they're dazed. Darius will then stay behind to use an enhanced version of heel drop that launches the opponent. This setup uses the entire Kameo bar, but it affords much more damage than the prior setup. You can do the same overhead low juggle and get 257 damage for the optimal combo by timing the second hit of the low to initiate the juggle. As for a corner scenario, it's 269 in the corner. Note, I recommend dash cancelling to confirm the knockdown, which also positions you closer to the opponent, allowing for easier setup execution. Furthermore, you can slightly delay the overhead so that the second low of the basics hits first, which affords you much more damage as it launches the opponent. Doing this effectively reverses the mix-up from an overhead low into a low overhead mix-up. Based on your location on the screen, you can also get corner pressure from successfully executing this setup. Also, the Kameo buys around 30% recharge after executing this setup, meaning a heel turn is right around the corner. Be very careful using the delay mechanic, as a minor offset in timing can get you punished or make you miss your setup opportunity window. If you time this correctly, you get the full launch and you can now go into a full combo. So let's talk about possible counterplay to this setup and your possible counters to those counterplays. First and foremost, the setup is blockable. The basic heel turn setup is very punishable if blocked correctly and you dialed in the enhanced shocker input. You can block the overhead, then crouch block the low, the timing is just tight. Obviously, there's counters to this such as bettering the timing on the setup, delaying heel turn, the lows, etc. So firstly, delayed wake up can counter this. If the opponent guesses right and delays their wake up and you use the normal timing of the setup, they can get up by passing it or with punishing you. You can counter their counter by making a read that they'll delay wake up, by either calling Darius later or by calling him and delaying his heel kick by holding the Kameo button after calling him. The latter is much better because it affords you much more control over the timing than the previous option. Secondly, the setup breaks armor. If your opponent tries to armor wake up, once done right, the two hits are almost simultaneous, which will counter any armored wake up. Here's specifically why I said back 2 is the ideal setup starter for heel turn. If you use back 4 and try to armor break using the overhead low mix up, it can fail based on the wake up, as Darius may whiff his overhead as shown here or hit the enemy after. These are not ideal situations. With the hard knockdown, you have enough time to properly initiate the setup. Here's the thing about them armoring. Since the overhead hits first, it will be absorbed by the armor, allowing the low to initiate the combo. This will allow for a more damaging punish at 292 damage, as it allows for a standard Raiden combo route to be used. Showers wake up because it's a jump has some unique interactions with this armor breaking setup as I just showed. Let's say your opponent is Liu Kang. You can actually break his armor from back 4. If it's simultaneously, they can actually be juggled here. Ideally, the armor absorbs the overhead and allows the low to initiate the combo, which would net you a 292 damage punish. Based on the option you receive, you either go into quick loner or your other options like double strike, quick loner, etc. Sometimes it happens. This is why I said specifically back 2 gives you the most freedom and consistency in choosing and executing your desired type of armor break. It significantly reduces the chances of the other options occurring. As for the second setup with Eat Dirt, you can do the same process with the initial setup by calling Darius at the end of a shocker combo and timing the second hit of the basics to initiate the combo. This affords you 312 damage for an armor break. You also have an alternative option here. You can do the reverse of the heel turn setup. Since the overhead launches, you can delay it to hit after the second hit of the basics, effectively launching the opponent. This route affords you 367 damage plus the corner from mid-screen. This is just from hypothetically using shocker, not a combo. Using an actual combo such as the standard low route will allow the setup to carry into the corner, affording you 323 damage for the standard setup. And 379 damage for the delayed setup. Regardless, know your matchup. I showed you how different setup routes interact with a wake up from a character like Shao and also with a character like Liu Kang. Some of these different setup scenarios will work against some characters, whilst fail against others. Thirdly, let's explore the wake up jumping option. Each starter is different. For back 4, it's very inconsistent. If you mess up your timing, the opponent can neutral jump out of the setup. Additionally, juggling them is very inconsistent from the setup starter. If their timing is extremely strict, they usually either jump the low and then get hit by the overhead, or they get knocked down because the low hits then the overhead. It's just too inconsistent. The shocker route is still the same, affording you the same options consistently. Likewise, back 2 is the same. It's consistent. This is why I don't think back 4 is a reliable setup starter at all. If you still want to use it, hey, that's up to you. Fourthly, for invincible wake up, if timed correctly, you can actually punish this. Let's use the Kung Lao Kameo reversal for example. Each starter setup route has different options. For back 4, it's actually bulletproof. You'll punish invincible wake up every time once your timing is right. Likewise, with using the alternative setup with shocker, you can even get more damage on the delay setup. However, the heel turn back 2 setup has some unique interactions. Firstly, you will get punished and Darius will be hit if your timing is off. The spin will hit you during the basics animation. You can also somewhat trade during this interaction if both of your timings match. However, you can time it so that your second hit of the basic clips Liu Kang, allowing you to punish him. Let's explore the delay mechanic. Delaying Darius by holding the Kameo button after calling him vastly expands your offensive options. You can use him as bait to fish out actions from your opponent or condition them to think that you're going to perform certain actions. Here's the first scenario. Instead of going for the armor break, you can try baiting it out by delaying Darius and staggering the basics, then block last minute with the armor. This will allow you to full combo punish them and put them in another guessing situation by calling Darius during the shocker combo ender. If they guess wrong, they get comboed again. Alternatively, you can bait your opponent into blocking the overhead, which allows you to full combo them from the lows. So they'll block standing anticipating the overhead, but the delay results in the lows allowing for a full combo. This affords you more damage than that of the juggle, but if they armored wake up, you can be punished for attempting this. However, you can counter their read by making a read of their read. If you make a read and predict that they'll do this, whilst delaying Darius, you can block the wake up and full combo punish them. This is a mind game that you can win and also lose, but that's the game of Mortal Kombat. It's about guessing right or wrong. They can also make a read of this and counter the delay by blocking low entirely, somewhat neutralizing that option, but not quite. They can block the low and choose to eat the overhead because it's only 80 damage. Worth it, because Darius loses half his Kameo bar for only 80 damage. However, you can counter this by delaying Darius so that he uses heal drop on the second hit of the basics, still allowing you to juggle them. The timing is quite tight, but with practice you can get this done, and have it as a potential counter in your arsenal. Now, they'll start guessing how you're going for the initial setup. Will you delay heal drop to fool them into blocking the overhead setup and full combo them off the low? Will you delay heal drop to the second hit of the low? And if yes, do I try stand and block when the second low hits to prevent the juggle? It's mind games on top of mind games, but that's the game of Mortal Kombat. Likewise, with the Eat Dirt setup, using the same delay tactics I previously showed you, you can get the same full low combo if they choose to block the overhead. There's an acute fear of that specific overhead here because this one launches allowing for a full combo. The good thing about this setup is that you can actually do the reverse of the first setup. You can make the low hit first, then the overhead to fully launch the opponent. This effectively turns the setup into a low overhead mix-up. Let's take it to the next level. Say they try to block the normal setup, you can delay the overhead to hit on the second low in the string, which will launch the opponent allowing for a full combo. Here's me showcasing the various options against this delay setup. Firstly, armor still gets broken as usual. Secondly, you can fuzzy it, but you have to guess and time it correctly. and the timing is quite tight. Thirdly, punishes invincible wake up. Lastly, on delayed wake up you have to guess. If you wake up crouch blocking, that's a full combo. If you wake up blocking standing, then you can counter this setup. Now let's head to another level. You can counter this counter by calling Darius even later in the Shako combo ender. Listen, and listen carefully. This is specifically very strict. If you fail to execute this, you lose your entire Kameo bar. However, if successful, this allows you to be able to delay him even further and allows Raiden to be able to use his entire Super Bolt low string. Now, Eat Dirt can be delayed for every hit of the Super Bolt low string. If they delay wake up or crouch block, anticipating the previous mix, they'll be launched by the overhead. This can still be fuzzied however, but you have to guess perfectly in this scenario to block the mix-up. Now, they're left wondering if the low or overhead is going to hit first. Will the overhead be delayed until the second or the third hit? Will Super Bowl be staggered? You can mix all these different options in the setup to keep the opponent guessing. The delay mechanic, especially for Eat Dirt, can be a very powerful tool, but it can be prone to being punished by armored wake up based on your delay timings. Listen, I've tried my best to showcase the different counter plays and your counters to those counters and the opponents to those counters. You guys get the point. It's a guessing game and you can win and also lose. The delay is generally punishable by an armored guess, but that's why conditioning is important. If you've been constantly breaking their armor, they might be more prone to either delay waking up or just neutral waking up, which allows you to fully utilize your delay mechanic for crazy mixes. Try to utilize all the various tools in your arsenal and be dynamic with your setups to keep the opponent guessing. You want to be dynamic when executing your setups. Not every opponent is the same and you'll have to adjust accordingly. One opponent may constantly be using delayed wake up to possibly throw off your timing, whilst another will armor on 9 out of 10 wake ups, whilst another opponent may mix both options. It's on you to make the relevant reads, and also to condition your opponent in order to beat them. Lastly, Darius also allows Raiden to combo off grabs from anywhere on the screen. Spending a bar, the optimal non-corner combo does 24%. The corner combo does 25%. That's a lot of damage for a grab. Obviously, it costs a lot of resources, specifically the entire Kameo bar and 1 bar of super meter. However, there are situations where this is worth it, such as finishing off a weakened opponent when you land a grab. I think Darius is definitely one of Raiden's best Kameo options currently, and I hope some of you will give this combination a thorough try. I know a few of you Raiden mains, especially the Raiden Jax mains, have struggled with opening people up. Give Darius a go and return to tell me your experiences. I'm actually planning to start my Kombat League climb myself this season using only him, so stay tuned for that. If there was anything that I didn't cover or missed in this guide, you can comment it down below to help make it more comprehensive for the potential viewers. We're past 300 subs and I appreciate all the continued support of the channel. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm trying to get better at MK and hopefully produce videos that'll help y'all get better too. Remember, iron sharpens iron. That's the type of community I want to build on this platform, one that helps each other improve. Hope y'all been enjoying the holidays. I'm out. One love.